The seemingly ordinary high school chemistry teacher, Walter White, finds his life spiraling out of control. Diagnosed with terminal cancer, he faces a bleak future. In a desperate bid to secure his family's financial future, Walt embarks on a dangerous path, turning to a life of crime with a partner as unpredictable as the chemistry he masters. Walt delves into the dark world of meth production. As the stakes rise and the lines between right and wrong blur, he must navigate a treacherous landscape filled with violence, betrayal, and the constant threat of exposure. Will he emerge from the shadows, or will his deadly gamble consume him entirely? Walter White is a 50-year-old high school chemistry teacher in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He lives with his pregnant wife, Skylar, and their teenage son, Walter Jr., who has cerebral palsy. To make ends meet, Walt works part-time at a local car wash, where he's often humiliated, once even in front of two of his students. On his 50th birthday, Skylar throws him a surprise party, but the next day, Walt collapses at work and is rushed to the hospital. There, he gets devastating news: inoperable lung cancer, with an estimated 2 years to live. Walt decides to keep the diagnosis from his family, including Skylar's sister Marie and her husband Hank, who works as a DEA agent. Back at the car wash, Walt snaps, unleashes his frustration on his boss, and quits. Shortly before this, Walt saw a news story about one of Hank's drug busts that seized a mountain of cash. This inspires Walt to accept Hank's earlier offer to join a DEA ride-along. During the raid of a meth lab, Walt notices Jesse Pinkman, a former student of his, sneaking out through a window. Walt tracks Jesse down and blackmails him into teaming up to produce meth, though he doesn't reveal his true motivation. Walt hands over his life savings for Jesse to buy a beat-up Fleetwood Bounder RV to use as a mobile lab. Walt also steals the necessary supplies from his school's chemistry lab. Out in the desert, Walt and Jesse start cooking. Thanks to Walt's expertise, they create meth so pure that Jesse calls it the best he's ever seen. Jesse takes a sample to his distributor, Crazy 8 Molina, who turns out to be the cousin of Emilio Koyama, Jesse's former partner, recently bailed out after Hank's raid. Emilio, angry that Jesse left him behind, forces him to take Crazy 8 to the RV to prove his loyalty. When they meet Walt, Emilio recognizes him from the raid and assumes he's a snitch. Emilio and Crazy 8 hold Walt and Jesse at gunpoint. Jesse tries to flee, but knocks himself out cold by tripping over a rock. To save himself, Walt offers to demonstrate his meth cooking process. While inside the RV, Emilio carelessly tosses a lit cigarette, sparking a brush fire outside. Walt seizes the moment, creating phosphine gas to incapacitate Emilio and Crazy 8. With both men unconscious, Walt escapes the RV and seals the door to trap the toxic fumes inside. Hearing sirens in the distance, Walt panics. He grabs a gas mask, puts another on Jesse, and drags him into the RV's passenger seat. Still reeling from the chaos, Walt drives the RV away from the growing brush fire. As seen in the episode's opening scene, Walt crashes the RV into a ditch and stumbles out, gas mask on, gun in hand. Fearing arrest, he records a goodbye message for his family and attempts to shoot himself, only to realize the safety is still on. The sirens get closer, but they turn out to be fire trucks responding to the blaze, not police cars. Relieved, Walt hides his gun. Jesse eventually wakes up, and together they get the RV towed out of the ditch by a Native American man with a front loader. They return to town, leaving Emilio and Crazy 8 tied up in the RV, which they park at Jesse's house. That night, Walt goes home. Skylar, worried about his behavior, is shocked when Walt initiates an unusually passionate encounter. Breathless, she asks, "Walt, is that you?"